They rise with the sun, work tirelessly throughout the day, and into the night as darkness falls. Not heat, no exhaustion will halt their mission. They plow, they plant, they nurture, and they toil to accomplish a feat that will feed the nation. With an entrepreneurial vision, they introduce our country to the art of innovation. And with their remarkable business insight and the passion to grow, they set the stage for a host of extraordinary opportunities. These hardworking men and women are catalysts in our survival. They're the backbone of our economy, our hope and sustenance, our visionaries and saviors. And at Cargills Ceylon PLC, we consistently praise the strength and resilience of their human spirit and appreciate their entrepreneurial vision to succeed. As Sri Lanka's largest food retailing and manufacturing business house, we have diversified into a range of subsidiaries as well as an international franchise, all the while remaining loyal to the development of our island home and searching for ways in which we can assist our spirited and deserving entrepreneurs to grow and prosper. Having sourced fresh produce from farmers since 1999, their daily struggles and financial difficulties were evident, and we felt it was our duty to lend them, as well as Sri Lanka as a whole, a helping hand. After all, it's not the drive and desire to become successful that these capable individuals lack, but the capital to do so. As Sri Lanka welcomes an era of dynamic growth, Cargills Company PLC extends its vision of participating in this journey of progression by supporting yet another project of development. A commercial bank geared to encourage, assist, and accelerate sustainable development, entrepreneurship, and business opportunities, thereby creating an enriched and enhanced future for the people of Sri Lanka. Nourishing those who nourish us, Cargills Bank gives ambitious individuals of our country from all walks of life a chance to truly prosper. With financial products that uplift their customers to dynamic heights of success, here is a bank that turns aspirations into reality. The time has come to invest in those who have invested so much time and effort in our nation. With heart and soul, Cargills Bank proudly prepares to write the success stories of generations to come. Cargills Bank, banking on the human spirit.
A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, Cargills Bank, banking on the human spirit. First and foremost, a very warm welcome. Well, this is, of course, the initial public offering where we say invest in a share of progress. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome, first and foremost, goes out to the board of directors, the top-level management, all employees, and, of course, our diverse stakeholders who are gathered here this momentous evening, and not forgetting our friends of the media. Thank you very much for taking time off and joining in this very momentous occasion. It is a very important moment for Cargills Bank, and thank you very much for taking time off and joining with us, because you are definitely helping us in take this message around the world and, of course, here in beautiful Sri Lanka. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, just let me take you a little bit through this amazing Cargills Bank. Well, you did see a video at the outset, but just to add on to what you just saw, Cargills Bank Limited is, of course, a licensed commercial bank incorporated in Sri Lanka, having commenced business operations in 2014. Well, it does have a great mission to directly engage every customer at their convenience by a unique and a far-reaching network through efficient and innovative technology, to facilitate and empower small and medium entrepreneurs, enhance industry standards through a highly motivated team of innovative bankers, to create sustainable value for the investors through sound financial performance embedded in transparency and accountability. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with that very powerful mission statement also comes a vision of Cargills Bank, which is, of course, to be the most inclusive bank harnessing the spirit of progress in every Sri Lankan. Well, to talk about the strength of Cargills Bank, well, with 24 branches and of course more in the pipeline in days, months and years to come, with the mini locations standing at 29 and of course the touch points, that is CFC outlets with over 500. We also have more than 600 committed employees in enhancing the spirit and of course taking the message out and serving our customers. And also we do have a total customer on board which is more than 200,000. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today at this IPO, it is of course significance to say that today we are broadening our horizons in further strengthening our firmhold here in Sri Lanka and of course for greater heights to be received and of course achieved in days and months to come. With that being said, it's of course right about time that we introduce to you the IPO panelist, and let's take a moment to identify and introduce our dear panelist. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, we have our chairman, Mr. Richard Ebel, followed by the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Senrat Bandara. Also, I would like to acknowledge the presence on the panel of our Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Prabhu Madhavan, alongside our Chief Strategy Officer, Mr. Talal Marzuk, alongside the Group Chief Operating Officer and Head of Investment, Mr. Zakir Mohammad Ali, the Banking CT CLSA. Also, I would like to acknowledge on the panel we have the Chief Executive Officer, NDB Investment Bank, Mr. Darshan Pereira. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all put our hands together to our distinguished panelist on the IPO. Well, thank you very much. Also, we would like to make a note that we do have diverse stakeholders join with us via Zoom, and later on we'll of course open the Q&A session as we progress in this evening's agenda. But first and foremost, to welcome all of us on this momentous occasion, I have the honor and privilege of inviting none other than our distinguished chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to Mr. Richard Ebel.
Thank you, Joel. Good evening to all present and to everyone who is connected online. Cargills Bank welcomes you to the launch of our initial public offering, and we hope you will find it informative. Our bank was born of the vision of the Cargills Group, our promoters, to carry financial inclusivity to all parts of Sri Lanka, where Cargills is very active and the Cargills brand is extremely trusted. The bank has seen improving performance over the last 2 years, thanks to the continuing support of our promoters, the focused and committed efforts of our Managing Director, Mr. Senrat Bandara, and his team, and the backing of our experienced Board of Directors. This has enabled us to get past the challenges of the last few years, which were not conducive to growth. Cargills Bank is growing, but we are still a small bank. That size brings special advantages. We are personal in our customer interactions, more understanding of our customer needs, and more responsive to them. This is reflected in what our customers themselves tell us. Ladies and gentlemen, the IPO being launched today provides for Cargills Bank to be listed and compliant with central bank regulations. It is modestly sized considering current market conditions. The price of a share in the IPO is based on an independent valuation which considers the bank's current and expected performance. The share is offered at a discount to that valuation. We believe investment in these shares will give investors solid value in the medium to long term. and reward those who make the investment. We hope our existing shareholders will also see the value of staying with their investments in the bank. We truly appreciate their resilience in remaining with us through challenging times. We look forward, ladies and gentlemen, to a successful IPO. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Mr. Richard Abel, the chairman, for making those opening remarks. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with that, as we move forward with the agenda for this evening, which is, of course, to keep you more informed and, of course, share more details on the IPO, we move on to a presentation, and which will, of course, be carried out by three individuals, and just to inform you about the designation and the individuals taking forward with the presentation. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Venkatesh Ramraj, the Assistant Vice President, Investment Banking at CTCL SA. Also, we would move on with the presentation with the Chief Strategy Officer, Cargills Bank, Mr. Talal Marzuk, will be taking over. Finally, the final bit of the presentation will be handled by the Senior Management Associate, Corporate Advisory at NDB Investment Bank Limited, Mr. Vindula Pereira. To start off with the presentation, I would like to first and foremost invite Mr. Venkatesh Ramraj to follow with the proceedings of the presentation.
Thank you, Joy. Cargills Bank Limited, via an offer for subscription, is raising LKR 500 million at a price of LKR 8 rupees per share. The bank is offering an ordinary voting share of 62.5 million to the public, which translates to a stake of 6.6%. At LKR 8 rupees per share, the bank's implied market capitalization post IPO will be LKR 7.6 billion. The IPO will be open for subscription from 14th December 2023. However, applicants can apply for the share from today onwards. You can apply either through the online portal, which is available at Cargills Bank website, www.cargillsbank.com/IPO, or alternatively, you can submit a physical application through your stockbrokers. If we move on to the objective of the issue, it is in two folds. Firstly, to meet CBSL's requirement of listing its shares in the Colombo Stock Exchange. Secondly, the capital raise will be part of the bank's capital augmentation plan of reaching the minimum capital requirement of LKR 20 billion by end of 2025. In terms of the usage of the fund, the capital raise will be deployed for portfolio expansion. Moving on, we have positioned the bank's investment thesis in three folds. Firstly, the bank's access to the Cargills ecosystem. The promoters of the bank, Cargills Ceylon PLC, has an heritage of over 180 years. The Cargills Group operates an integrated value chain connecting a diverse range of stakeholders from farm to home. This includes farmers, SMEs, suppliers, distributors, vast retail network, employees of the group, and large customer base. The Cargills Bank has access to this ecosystem and will be leveraging this platform to grow in the future. If we move on to the second pillar, which looks at Cargills Bank's unique position, on contrary to a conventional bank that prioritizes establishing a large branch network, Cargills Bank adopts a hub and spoke model. In this model, the bank leverages the extensive Cargills retail network, which span across all 25 districts in the country, as a platform for the customers to transact with Cargills Bank. This strategy was enabled through its agency banking license, which utilizes 478 Cargills outlets to perform certain banking functions, such as accepting customer deposits, processing withdrawals, and transferring funds via Cargills Cash. The agency network is connected to the core banking system of the bank and transactions are updated on real time. If we move to the third pillar, the bank is in its growth phase. The growth phase has been steered by an experienced leadership team headed by Mr. Bandara, the CEO of the bank. Despite a challenging economic environment, the bank is expected to post a profit of 570 million by end of this fiscal year. As part of its strategic plan, the bank intends to double its customer base by reaching an asset base of LKR 130 billion by 2026 by leveraging its inclusive business model. Let me invite Talal, who is the Chief Strategic Officer at Cargills Bank, to take you through the next section of the presentation.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Venkatesh. So firstly, just to give you all a brief introduction about Cargills Bank. To tell you that we started our journey in 2014 and now have an operating record of 9 years. In that time, we have opened 24 branches, but also established other channels like our agency banking channel with Cargills Food City, where we reach 478 Cargills Food Cities and customers can do transactions there. And also 29 mini locations where customers can start a banking relationship with Cargills Bank at these selected central bank approved locations. Just to elaborate a bit more, as Joel mentioned, our vision, which is to basically directly engage every customer, which is promoting financial inclusivity. I also want to draw reference to our vision, which is to be the most inclusive bank, harnessing the spirit of progress in every Sri Lankan. When we talk about this, we talk about promoting financial inclusivity, SME and economic development, especially in rural areas, and especially utilizing the Cargills ecosystem, where we have a unique advantage offering our SMEs basically a full service model from inputs to financing to also buying the output. And finally, that we have a balanced portfolio in which we serve all customers as we look to pursue this vision of ours. I guess Cargills needs no introduction, but I'll try to keep this very brief. So Cargills has a long history in Sri Lanka, with its origins tracing back to 1844. Next year will be the 180th year of Cargills in Sri Lanka. And as our group deputy chairman says, what would Sri Lanka look like when Cargills is 200 years? We do keep that in mind. In terms of the operations, as you know, Cargills is the leading retail operator in the country with over 500 locations, has many leading FMCG brands such as Kotmale, Kist, Magic, Goldie, Sam's, etc., and also operates the KFC and TGI Fridays restaurant chains. Within the broader CT Holdings group, there is CT Land, which is the owner of Majestic City, and also Cargills has mini malls located across key towns in Sri Lanka. And also there is the entertainment arm, which is Ceylon Theatres. Cargills Bank is the financial services arm of the Cargills Group, through which there is an associate ownership stake. Moving on to our board of directors, it is ably led by Mr. Ebel, and also there is a combination of very experienced and diverse individuals from corporate life who bring a lot of color and also a lot of insight in making the decisions, taking the bank forward. Finally, just giving you a brief look at what the ownership structure of Cargills Bank is. So the bank is 65% owned by the promoters, Cargills, Ceylon, and CT Holdings. And the balance 35% is held by diverse individuals and corporates, many of whom are leading corporates in Sri Lanka. About 26.5% of the bank is held by institutional investors, and a further 8.5% is held by individual investors. So that's just a brief wrap-up about Cargills Bank and to give you a bit of the history. And now I'll just get into what defines us, what makes us different, how are we, the question comes of why are there so many banks in Sri Lanka? So, why are we different in this sector? So the first thing is our business model, which is very much integrated with the Cargills ecosystem. I won't go into each of these stakeholders in detail, but basically, the Cargills Bank business model is very integrated with the overall operations of Cargills Group, wherein we look at, how do we cater to the different stakeholders that are there, be they agriculture farmers, be they SMEs, be they corporates, transporters, landlords, even retail stores where Cargills delivers its goods and sells its goods in over 50,000 retail stores. What this does is it gives us opportunities where we can look at how do we do value chain financing, because as I said earlier, you have a group that basically gives a supplier or gives a farmer a full solution from start to finish. The same thing applies to our customers, where our customers can also look at diverse services from the same group delivered at the same location. We'll go into this a little bit more further on. So looking into the business model in more detail, when we look at our expansion and what defines or what differentiates Cargills, the first thing is that we are not looking at a standard brick and mortar sort of model. We look at what we call a hub and spoke model. We have hubs, which are branches, and then we have spokes, which is that they are connected to selected food cities. These are, of course, central bank approved. And these food cities offer certain services that allow the bank to expand its services. And then on top of this is complemented by our digital offerings, which allow the customer to then transact with their account. Meanwhile, with regard to Food City itself, there is our agency banking license, which allows us to do banking transactions or facilitate banking transactions for our customers in 478 Food City locations and growing. The advantage that we have from doing this is that, firstly, the Food City is a familiar, safe, and secure environment. So many customers go there at least once or twice a week. The other thing is that it's open from 8 to 10. So customers can always come in, on their way home, they will basically do a little bit of banking. They may withdraw or deposit. And basically, it is providing all these services within a single location. So it's providing convenience to our customers, which is basically our USP when we talk about our retail banking customers. So the agency banking side is a key differentiator that we have in how we attract customers, especially retail customers, to be part of the Cargills Bank journey. The other thing is that we also facilitate collection accounts and basically transacting for our corporate customers, wherein there is cash management solutions, which operate through the Food City outlets. As I was mentioning, most of this is on a platform that is digitally enabled. So our purpose is not to set up brick and mortar stores, not to do things the way that banking has been done in the past, but to actually look at how do we elaborate or how do we give digital solutions and basically bring a slight differentiator. So really, it would be a multimodal model. We're looking at physical and digital, and there has to be a seamless experience across the board. So at present, we have about 40,000 active users for our internet and mobile banking. And one of the key aspects over this next year is that we are in the process of launching a new banking app, which will most likely come out in the second quarter of this coming year, which will give a completely different and a revamped user experience while having all the right services to be competitive in the market. The other aspect about being part of the Cargills Group is that we are in a position, quite uniquely, to provide benefits to customers which they need on everyday essentials. Over the past few years, we have had everyday discounts at our supermarkets, KFC stores, TGI Fridays, cinemas, and also through other partners, wherein we give value to our customers by giving these discounts. We really look at it as savings. It's part of the Cargills ethos. I mean, Cargills in itself, one of our guiding pillars is to reduce the cost of living. So from Cargills Bank, how we take that is to increase your value of saving. So through the group synergies, we are able to deliver this, wherein we give discounts on a daily basis to customers on their essentials. And right now, we run a 30% discount on local fresh fruits and vegetables, and also, like I said, at KFC, TGIF, and other partners. So as you can see, there is quite a lot of integration that we have managed to bring in with the overall Cargills group. Looking into the value chain side of it, as you know, Cargills is a group that has operations running 24/7 across the country. From an agriculture standpoint, there are over 50 collection points for dairy and fruits and vegetables. And also there's a level of integration with farmers, wherein through Cargills, a farmer can be given advice on what inputs they should do, how they can approach agriculture modernization and reduce the impact of global warming and climate change. We've partnered with certain partners to bring in agriculture modernization technology as well as dairy modernization technology. And this gets financed through the bank. So while Cargills provides the technical services and also buys the produce from the farmers, the bank is able to finance that and also finance it at very good rates because we are a participating financial institution with programs like DAD, SAP, and other central bank programs like Saubhagya. And we are able to give them loans at these concessionary rates so that they can invest in modernizing themselves and basically upgrading their production and quality and also their lifestyle at the end of it because they get a higher income from it. So the bank is very proud of being able to be this glue that binds all of these different participants. Taking this a step further, in terms of really what we do, so basically in Cargills, social responsibility is enshrined in our business model, and Cargills Bank is no different. We have a specific agriculture vertical that is actually a smallholder agriculture vertical and microfinance vertical that is set up to specifically look at how we can positively impact rural entrepreneurs, smallholder farmers, and these small-scale entrepreneurs who are a very integral part of the Cargills ecosystem. So that in a nutshell is our business model, where we are not, I wouldn't say that we are confined to any specific segment. We have business solutions for retail customers, for corporate customers, SMEs, farmers. We go across the board. And also in terms of the way that we are delivering that model, we are trying to do it in a manner that is convenient to our customers, where they will have banking services at locations that are very familiar to them, such as the Food City location, or at least at the convenience of their own homes through digital channels. And as I said, topping up on this is basically the savings aspect, where we are mainly promoting savings and how customers can increase the value of their portfolio. Moving into what we've done over the last few years, and also what we plan to do over the next few years. So as Mr. Ebel was saying, the bank had gone through a fairly rough time from about 2017 to 2019 or 2020, but has gradually turned itself around. And that turnaround has been led by Mr. Bandara. So, he's a very respected banker and having spent over 30 years in the industry. And through his leadership and with the corporate management team, the bank has managed to turn itself around, whereas over the last 3 years, there have been progressive improvements across all indicators. Looking a bit deeper into this, I hope this is a bit clear, but if not, there is a presentation provided. Over the past 3 years, basically, we have had quite a strong growth in our CAGRs, on income as well as maintaining our expenses at a very low growth level. And through that, over the past 3 years, our performance has been a loss of 887 million in 2020, reduced to a loss of 369 million in 2021, and at let's say adjusted for a one-off item, 206 million profit before tax in 2022. And this year we are forecasting to go above 500 million. So overall, the trajectory in the last few years has been very good. And we are looking to basically consolidate and compound on this so that in future we have plans to look at how we double our customer base. We are at a point of stability now, and the country itself is at a point that now we can only go up. In times like this, it's good to be in the banking sector because the bank is what funnels growth throughout the economy. So if I were to look at over the next 3 years, what our plans are. So just to tell you in general, the bank is structured in a manner that there are business units to the different business groups. So for instance, there's retail banking, cards, agriculture and microfinance, SME and corporate. Each of these different teams are focused towards their own individual goals, and together that gets compounded as the bank moving forward. And this is all harmonized through Mr. Bandara and the corporate management. Overall, this year, as I said, we are looking at a profit of over 500 million, but we are looking to triple that over the next 3 years. As Joel mentioned, we have onboarded about 200,000 customers in our journey of 9 years, of which over 100,000 are active customers with us today. And that's a number that we are looking to double over the next 3 years. We are confident of this given our strategies and also the visibility and also the stability that has come across from Cargills Bank over the last few years. In terms of SME and corporate banking, SME, of course, we will look at how do we provide tailor-made solutions to them, because where SMEs especially are concerned, they are in a position that they need cash to expand their businesses and establish themselves. And we are in a position to do this, especially with the backing of the promoters, as well as in terms of the solutions that we have for value chain financing and other metrics or other solutions. On agriculture and microfinance, we are heavily integrated with Cargills, and we do participate with the central bank as a participating financial institution for refinance loans. In fact, our participation in the domestic agriculture development program was recognized by the central bank when they recently closed the program. And they said that the Cargills model, together with Kotmale, was a model that should be studied and should be replicated going forward. With that, I will pass it on to Vindula, who is going to talk to you about the valuation. So this valuation, he will give you more details, including our projections for the next few years. And after that, we'll take it for Q&A. Thank you very much. Vindula.
Thank you, Talat. So let me just start off with what Talal just mentioned. So based on the future plans that Talal explained, we expect the bank to significantly grow its deposit base, which is currently at around 45 billion rupees, to reach around 300 billion by 2031, whilst maintaining a CASA ratio of around 25% throughout. What this will allow is, it will allow the bank to ramp up its gross loan book from 42 billion, which is the current figure right now, to around 250 billion in 9 years' time. And the bank's initiatives will lead to the retail and SME banking segments of the loan book to amount to 2/3 of the loan book. Then if I move on to speak about profitability, the bank's cost-to-income ratio is set to decrease over time and normalize as the bank expands its income base in the coming years. And as Talal mentioned, and even Venkatesh also mentioned, the bank was able to record profits after 3 consecutive loss-making years in 2022. And we expect that this trend would continue and the bank would hit profit after tax figure of around 1.2 billion by 2025. And the ROEs of the bank are also expected to normalize and reach industry norms by 2026, which is around 14% upon the completion of the capital augmentation plan that the bank has. Moving on to the valuation, so the projections that I displayed to you earlier were the inputs of the residual income valuation model. We basically consider 3 valuation models. The first model takes into consideration the fundamentals of the business, and the value that is derived from that model is 9.83 rupees. We also employ 2 other valuation methodologies: a justified price to book value method based on a normalized basis, as well as a trailing 10-year price to book value multiple on the August book value of the bank. We consider the listed commercial banks on the Colombo Stock Exchange, with the exception of Amana Bank, as the peer set for the valuation. So what this results in is a blended average fair value of 10 rupees and 3 cents for a share of Cargills Bank. So that is, so for an issue price of 8 rupees, this comes at an effective upside of 25% to the investors and at an effective multiple of 0.62 times the August book value. That brings the end of the presentation. Joel, over to you.
Well, thank you very much to Mr. Venkatesh, Mr. Thalal, as well as Mr. Vindula for taking us all through this detailed presentation this evening. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with the presentation being showcased to all of you, I'm sure there are questions rising in your mind, and I'm sure you would want these questions to be posted out, as well as you definitely will get all your answers, as we have the panelists who are readily available for all of us for the questions to be answered. Like I mentioned at the start, we also do have diverse stakeholders joining us online. So while we prepare for the questions, we would also like to take a look online and see if we do have any questions coming in. Well, first, yes, we do have a question coming from online. I would also like to request friends of the media and all those present here, if you do have questions, the microphone will be passed across, and please feel free to just raise your hand and ask your question away. We'll start off with the first question coming in from online, and I'm sure we could post a question to anyone in the panel. The first question coming out is, what differentiates Cargills Bank from its competitors in the market?
Thank you, Joel. Cargills Bank is a commercial bank. Like any other commercial bank, Cargills Bank also operates in all the banking spheres. We are into retail banking, SME, corporate banking, international trade, treasury, project financing. So all array of banking businesses are done by Cargills Bank there. Our differentiation is, I would put it in three ways. One is the business model. Then our staff and the customer service. Third one is our focus. We are different to others in terms of our business model. A conventional bank will reach customers through a large network of branches. In our case, we do have branches, but we are not expanding our branch network rapidly, investing very high capex on the buildings. At the moment, we have 24 branches, but our branch network is connected through a hub and spoke model to a 500 plus service points through our agency banking arrangement, and also having mini banking units in Cargill food cities. At the moment, we have 29 Cargills Bank mini units. So 29 plus 24 branches, we have 50 service points where our staff members are serving our customers, where they can open accounts and take all other services. Additionally, 478 food city outlets are serving as our counters. They provide basic banking transactions, accepting deposits, facilitating withdrawals, and money transfers of our customers. So in that sense, we have a wider reach and at a very low cost model. And also the convenience what we are offering to our clients through this wide array of network. Second point is our staff. I would say that I have very experienced, dynamic employees of 600. So they are given a very personalized service. Being small, our customers can take all services under one roof, probably with 1 or 2 staff members. Third point is our focus. Our approach to business is a development orientation. As I said earlier, though we are a commercial bank, our focus is a development orientation as we state in our vision. Nevertheless, we are into commercial banking. That's where we can achieve our growth aspiration. So in that respect, I would say that we are quite different to most of the commercial banks in the country.
Thank you very much. I'm show that the question was, of course, answered and your query cleared. Well, with that, we'd like to move on to the next question. Well, we do have quite a number of questions coming in online, but let's focus on this question. Well, the question is, the bank went through 3 consecutive years of losses and managed to record profitable periods in the year 2022 and, of course, September 2023. How did the bank achieve this turnaround is the question.
Okay, may I take that question, please? I think you would have heard elements of this answer in various things that you've already been told. I think there are factors that have contributed to this turnaround. One of them, I think, is the fact that conditions have, to a reasonable degree, improved over the last few months, and that has helped the bank. Then, of course, we've had the continued support of our promoters, which has been there even previously, and that is a great strength to us. That has helped us in this period. In addition, I, as chairman, have been blessed with a very solid board of directors, and I am grateful for the support they give the bank. That's another factor, I think, that has helped us. But more than anything else, I would say, and you've heard this a few times already, is the quality of the leadership that Mr. Bandara, who has been our managing director for 3 years now, and will remain with us for a further period, to carry forward these plans, to carry forward the implementation of what we have been doing. The leadership he has provided, the inspiration and the guidance he has given our corporate management team, who I think have responded very well and have helped us turn the bank's performance around. And I believe that will continue going into the future. So I'd like to take the opportunity. I see several members of corporate management here. I'd like to place on record our appreciation of the commitment they have shown in achieving the kind of result that the bank is now able to achieve. There is much more to be done, and I'm sure your commitment will help us get there.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Well, with that, we'd also like to pose a question to friends of the media, anyone who would want to direct a question to IPO panelist. Well, we do have the mic. Well, if you do have questions, please feel free to do so. Until your questions pop up, we move on to yet another question. Well, the question is, what is your stage 3 loan and the coverage ratio at the moment? What are the recovery plans in place, given it's exposed a lot in the SME?
Yeah, so getting into specifics, our ratio, stage 3, net of stage 3 loans, net of stage 3 impairment to total loans is 6.64. Can I be heard? Sorry. So on this NPCF, we have some large NPA clientele, and we have been able to keep at bay new NPAs getting added on. So the way we have been managing is we are pursuing very vigorous recovery actions on a large number of NPAs and keeping at bay new additions. And bulk of a substantial part of the old NPAs are collateral backed, and we also have lands that have been now vested with the bank, and we are pursuing actions to sell and part recover these large amounts of loans. So if we actually discount for the fact that about 10 large NPAs came on board, the bank has actually managed its loan portfolio very satisfactorily, and in time to come, we will be able to ride above this high NPA portfolio and come out successfully.
Thank you very much. Well, we do have yet another question coming in terms of numbers. So the question goes as, what's the percentage of microfinance loans out of the total loan portfolio?
It's a very insignificant percentage.
A very insignificant percentage. Right, okay. We would like to move on to anyone physically present here. If you do have questions, well, we would like to accommodate questions, of course, in both Sinhalese, English, at your convenience. Please, it's now time that you raise the questions.
I'm a journalist from the Island newspaper. Why have you selected this particular moment to launch the IPO? Number two, after the, will there be any change in your shareholder portfolio post-IPO? Number three, what are your strategies to expand your savings base? Because we don't see that enough people are coming to your bank to save, to operate savings accounts. And there are 200,000 account holders at this Cargills Bank, and only 100,000 are active, and another 100,000 is less active. So what is your strategy to turn them into, to turn those 100,000 account holders as well into active status? Thank you.
You will take the question on the savings account. Yes, I will take that. Yeah, as far as the IPO itself is concerned, the timing is influenced by the fact that we are required to list. There's an obligation on us to list this company, list this bank. And it is for that reason that we are listing at this particular point in time. Then your second question was about the shareholders. There will be a change in the shareholder list, obviously, after this IPO is completed. The IPO itself is for something like 6%. So you're not going to see a hugely significant change in the relevant proportions of shareholding that even existing shareholders have. Those may come down, but new shareholders will come into that list. But given the size of the issue, that is not likely to be very major. Does that answer your question? Yes.
Thank you very much.
On savings account, I think Mr. Bandara would be better.
Yeah, I'll touch on the final part of the question. Why our deposit base is not growing is the question, I think. We have been in the business for 9+ years now. So if you look at historically, it takes 10+ years for a commercial bank to make break even. And it is very competitive, and it is not easy to make a bank break even as well as grow the customer base. But in our case, if you look at the past 3 years, so basically it was a tough time, even for us to reach clients and go and talk to them. So always we had to do it on digital basis. But for a new bank to onboard new clients, it's a tough time. Nevertheless, we have the strength through our network agency banking arrangement, so we can very clearly leverage on our eco arrangements, ecosystem. So taking our customer base growing fast is actually very easy compared to another bank. So we are actually in that path. We have all the infrastructure in place. From one side, the touch point, 500+ touch points. From the other side, digital channels, internet banking, mobile banking, etc. On top of that, our brand name and the trust people are placing on the name Cargills. So those are very strong points. And we are in the retail field. So as our vision says, we are into the retail segment. So that's where the number of customers are. So growing the deposit base is, yes, it is challenging, but we firmly believe that given our infrastructure and our strength, we should be able to achieve that. Looking at our loyal customer base of our eco business, Cargills Food City Network, I think so achieving a high growth is, I think we should be able to achieve.
Thank you very much for posing that question. Do we have more questions coming in from the audience? Well, still we hear more questions. We move on to yet another question we received online, which I think is a very timely question as well. Well, the question is, what about existing shareholders? Is there a lock-in period for them, or can they sell?
There is no lock-in for the shareholders who are not connected to the promoters.
Thank you very much. Any more questions? Do we have more questions from our audience, friends of the media? Yes, we do have yet another question.
Mr. Bandar, if there's no regulatory requirement to list it on this stock exchange, I mean, if there's no such regulation, would you have remained as the bank that you have been remaining for the last 9 years? Would you prefer to remain as a bank which is not listed?
Well, we had the regulator's permission in the past. So this is a regulatory requirement now to list it before end of this year.
So you are doing it because of this, mainly
Yeah,
because of the regulatory?
yeah. So we have stated that in our prospectus.
Great,
Thank you. The next question is, we'll focus on a question coming in from online. Well, the question is, given your high exposure to the agricultural sector, what are your observations and outlook about the financial health of the Sri Lankan farmers, especially given the very heavy rain which of course we witnessed recently?
Agriculture area is our focus area, so we are pretty much into that business line. But the advantage is that most of the farmers are working with Cargills Food Cities. So, and they maintain accounts with us. So we know every stage of the farming they are in. So we know that. And proactively, if they are in a difficulty, we can take measures. And also from the Cargills Agro, Cargills Dairy, they are also engaged in these farmers. So our farmers are quite using the modernized techniques in their farming. So because of that, they are actually resilient to most of these weather calamities, etc. But as a bank, when we are financing, it is a risk in general into the agriculture sector. But since we are working with the value chain, so we have the advantage of getting our farmers to route through their cash flow through our accounts and manage our loan portfolio at the healthy level.
Thank you very much. Any questions from our audience? Yes?
One last question. What is your strategy, or how keen are you to attract middle-class customers to your bank for lifestyle products, maybe housing loans, etc.? We don't see much direction in the Cargills Bank in that area. What are your plans for 23, 24, and 25? Thank you.
So, as I said earlier, we are a commercial bank. We are into the consumer lending as well. And we are pretty much offering our products to the middle class. If you look at our deposit product suite, we have Abhimani accounts for ladies, Podihiti accounts for children, senior citizen accounts for the seniors, and normal savings accounts and the investment planner accounts, and various products for the different strata of the life. So that is in terms of the deposit side. But when it comes to the lending sides, so we provide personal loans, housing loans, vehicle loans, and various other consumer type of loans. So we are into that. Of course, during the last 2 years, we didn't go into that area knowing the economic situation of the country and the associated risk.
Thank you very much. More questions coming in from the audience? Well, we do have a question from online. The question reads, the bank is required to meet the minimum core capital of LKR 20 billion. Now, the question, of course, goes on to ask, what is the plan for this strategy?
Hi, yeah. Basically, we are quite mindful of that, and we have till December 2025 to meet our minimum capital requirement of 20 billion. So this IPO is the first phase in that, and what we intend to do is over the next 2 years, we will look to bridge the gap of roughly 8 billion, and that will be by, of course, our retained earnings, which will be reinvested into the bank, and also other capital raisings. We are looking at different avenues in which that we can raise this. There is, as a listed entity now, of course, rights issues and private placements become far easier to access, and through the stock exchange, especially as trading conditions improve, we feel that there would be better appetite for that. So those are the plans that we have at the moment. Just to elaborate in terms of this was factored into the forecast as well and the valuation, where it was looked at through different means over the next 2 years that we will reach this target of 20 billion.
Thank you very much, and we also hope that your question was answered. The next is, of course, a very straightforward question, which we'd like to direct to our panelists. Given the valuations of existing banks in the banking sector, don't you think the pricing is relatively expensive?
If you look at the current market conditions, depressed market conditions, yes, you will probably see some of the relative PBVs of the peers trading around 0.5 or so. We have actually come up with a valuation of 0.62, a slight premium. Probably there are a couple of reasons for that. If you look at so we have looked at the long-term valuation. So these are depressed conditions. As you know, last year was not a conducive period for us, for all of us. So we have looked at a 10-year horizon. When we conducted that, looked at the PBVs, PB multiples. So if you look at the PB multiples on a long-term nature, it had been around 0.7, 0.8. So actually we are coming cheaper, lower than that multiple. And also, one thing that we need to keep in mind is some of these bigger banks, they are exposed to ISBs. But in our case, actually, we are not exposed to ISBs. So some of these larger banks which are exposed to ISBs, we don't know what will happen. So that's one of the reasons that those shares are trading at lower multiples. And also the advantage that we have, the ecosystem and the synergies that we bring to the table along with the Cargills group probably can warrant a premium to the existing peers. So that's why. So we don't see this as on a long-term basis. We don't see this as being expensive. Right now, of course, if you look at right now, yes, someone can argue that it's a bit slightly highly valued.
Well, thank you very much. One final question we would like to open to anyone in the floor. If any final question would like to come forward and be questioned from our dear panelists. Well, if not, with that, we'd like to end the Q&A session. Any questions? All right, thank you very much. But definitely we do have many questions coming in online, but given the time constraint, ladies and gentlemen, we would not be going forward with the Q&A. But nevertheless, the gentlemen will be definitely happy to assist you and, of course, answer questions in person as well. Well, with that, thank you very much once again for all your questions being posted, and thank you very much to our panelists for responding to these very timely questions as well. As we bring the formalities to a close, I would like to invite the Managing Director, Mr. Senrat Bandara, to do the closing remarks.
Thank you, Joel. I think now you are clear about our bank, us, and our business model. As we explained, our approach to business is different to others in the industry. We have a development orientation into our business approach. At the same time, as I said earlier, we are a commercial bank and we don't ignore the commercial banking opportunities. That's where we have the opportunities to achieve our growth aspirations. Though we are the latest entry to the banking industry, we have a firm footing with the network and opportunities presented to us with the Cargills Bank, Cargills ecosystem. As we conclude this momentous day, marking the launch of the IPO of our bank. I extend my sincere gratitude for your presence, connecting online as well as in person. Your presence signifies the confidence and trust you place on our journey. Thank you for believing in our vision and our growth prospects. Your partnership is not just an investment. It is a shared commitment to success. Hence, we respectfully invite all of you to take a share of our progress by investing at the Cargills Bank IPO. Our IPO, as you know by now, per share is 8 rupees. Our issue size is 500 million. Open now onwards for accepting share applications. Don't miss it. Make your application early and own a share of progress of our bank, Cargills Bank, the last bank to be listed in the foreseeable future. Thank you for your trust, and let's build prosperous future together. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much to Mr. Senrat Bandara for making those closing remarks, and of course an open invitation for you to, of course, invest in a share of progress of Cargills Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, with that we bring the formalities to a close, and once again very big thank you goes out to everyone gathered here today, the board of directors, the top level management, and of course a very special thank you goes out to friends of the media. You took time off and you're joining with us today, which means a lot, and everyone gathered online, thank you very much. We'd like to invite you for refreshments, and hoping that you all have a great evening ahead. Take care and have yourselves a great one.